Jack continues a little further. My wife dead, my job taken from me, fair weather friends. There was nothing holding me to my whole life. So a few months later, sold my house, sold my car, sold almost everything except the sentimental things. Went over to Home Depot, bought some sheds, and moved down here to the junkyard. This is my home now. These people, my family. Dysfunctional family? Yeah, but they're still my family. He offered to take me on a tour of the place, and I had nowhere to go anyway, and I felt safer with this old guy by my side, so I agreed. And that's when I discovered that Jack was an unstoppable talker and an unstoppable storyteller, which was in one way good, because I really didn't want to talk anyway, so he held up both of our ends of the conversation. Every single person we passed, he had to tell me that person's life story. Every single shelter we passed, he had to tell me the life story of the person who lived in that shelter. Well, the tour eventually took us outside of the junkyard to about 4 blocks away to this really rundown tenement. Half the windows were boarded up, there was graffiti all over the place. But when we went into the building, there were 100, 150 people lined up with trays in their hands. And at first I felt really confused, and he caught my expression. So he said, "It's a soup kitchen, Jeff. Operates only one time per day, 4:30 to 7:30 for dinner. It would be nice if they could give other meals, but nobody's willing to donate the money. But at least they're providing one crucial meal to all these people who might have otherwise gone hungry." We grabbed trays and we started moving up the line. And as we did, he pointed to this kid all the way at the end of the counter, behind the counter with an apron serving food to people. He said, "See that kid? That kid's Billy. He was a Junkyardian for about 5 years until just 2 months ago, he finally got out. If ever there was anybody who was destined to be a Junkyardian, it was Billy because of his crappy parents. Let me tell you about them." And he did. She was looking for her knight in shining armor, a charming man who would just sweep her off her feet, and with 3 small words, he made her feel it was him. He was only looking for a pretty lady, a few good nights and then he'd sweep her aside, and he thought it was her cause she gave in so damn easily. So they came together for a few great nights of passion. Then he drove away in his souped up car and left her in tears. But when a month went by, she called him with a revelation that they'd be tied together for at least 18 long years. He saw his dreams of college slipping by the wayside as she demanded a commitment and a ring, and in 6 weeks' time, his fist turned into a swing. For weeks she finally kicked him to the curbside, but took him back when he moved up at Burger King, cause she needed the cash to pay the rent and raise this thing. And as the countdown to their future slowly dwindled, there was a new life waiting at T-3. It couldn't know of the heartache that the new world was bringing. It was the only time that this new soul would be free, floating in amniotic soup. Yeah, you're right, Jack. Some people don't have any right to be a parent. There should be a test. It didn't get any better when the kid came out into the real world. In fact, it continued to go downhill. Let me tell you what happened once he was born. And he did. For years he finally went and took a powder, not really caring for her whining or the kid, and in 6 months' time they found him face down on the skids. To give her credit, she tried hard to raise the child, but was depressed and hooked in methamphetamines, and they locked her away before the kid had turned 13. The boy was placed into a deeply broken system. He went from home to foster home in an endless loop. And at the placements that were not blatantly abusive, they bought him thrift shop clothes and fed him low-cost food. He ate a lot of bowls of soup. We got our trays, and then we sat down. And while we were eating our dinner, I asked Jack, I don't get it. He said he was in foster homes. Why would he wind up in the junkyard? He responds, aren't you listening? The foster homes were just as crappy. It was bound to fall apart. In such a soup, he ran away into the city. For months he wallowed in resentment and pain. He begged the rich for coins, which he would spend on crack cocaine. He could have followed in the footsteps of his parents, behind some bars or on a slab under a sheet, but in his darkest hour, he formed a family on the streets. So with their backing, he battles daily with his addictions. He shares a one-room flat with 7 hard-luck men. And through his searching for the meaning of his existence, he's found a place of hope in a rundown tenement where he serves homeless people soup. You know, Jeff, I gotta tell you, I am so proud of that boy Billy for working here at the soup kitchen and doing something to give back, for getting out of the junkyard, for making something of himself. I'm thinking this is the start of him maybe winding up turning his life around.